but right here. And I am here with my main man, my mentor, the #1 guy, Gary Hyman.
Boom.
How you doing, brother?
I'm back.
Awesome. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And I am just using the phone to share the show. I greatly encourage you to please share the show and just have your friends on. Today, what we're going to be talking about is something that I know both you and I go through all the time in our roles, and that's your responsibility to crew when you bring them on set. Yes. You know, it's a highly ill-defined scenario that we usually go through. We find, I know a lot of times, crew for the shoots that people call us for to rent our gear.
Right.
They want crew as well.
Sure. We
have a great advantage in getting them that crew because we want to put people to work that we know our gear, know our equipment. We know the level of work and the level of work they do.
Right.
You know, and it's really important. Now, the thing that is not always like the same is how the crew gets paid.
Right.
I know that when I get crew that come on and you know, if I pay them, there is a service fee to the client that they pay that. I charge 20% for payroll and for workers' comp, which I carry for anybody whom I'm putting on the job.
Sure.
That sometimes when clients hear that, they go, oh, no, well, I'll pay them.
Right.
Well, the deal is COD, you pay them, and then they should be walking out the door with a check.
Absolutely.
However, that's the way it's supposed to work. It doesn't always work that way.
No.
So, you know, you get into a position that I know you know, where we're the go-between between the clients and the crew. And we've got to keep both of them happy or try as hard as we can. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And how do you do that? And I've got to, it prompted me this week about this subject because of a couple Facebook posts on the Super Secret Film Group. And with a good friend, one of my good friends made the post, so I don't want to mention his name at the moment, but it really fell in line with everything I was thinking, so we do that. Tell me about your experiences in that, because Gary, you've been doing this a lot longer than I have. Give me some notes on how you approach that.
Yes, you know, every shoot that I'm called for is always different.
Yeah.
And you got to handpick your guys, your crew guys. And, you know, for the client, you know, he usually just wants to cut one check when it comes down to it.
Right.
It's just less headaches. One person he's got to listen to, which is me.
Well, yeah, and you think about
crew.
it, what do we want to do when we go to a vendor? We don't want to pay over here, pay over there, pay over there.
Sure, of
We
course
want
not.
to usually pay one place.
Yeah, one-stop shop, basically. And, you know, the pressure's in the middle, I always say.
Yeah.
And that's usually us.
Yes.
And, you know, we have to take care of the crew at a decent time interval. You know, everything's net 30
And
per se.
let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about that for a minute, because this is a real big thing. You know,
yes.
I mean, and this is one of the elements in which I think you almost start the conversation about crew pay.
That's right.
For me, I put it on where I'm saying when I do my estimate, it says right there in where I go through service on QuickBooks. That's where I put everybody under labor. So I do that, and it says right on my thing, put in, you know, cooked into the QuickBooks, is that that's if the price is this. So I say $650 for 10 hours.
Sure.
That is the price if production pays COD.
Right.
If BG&L pays, a 20% fee will be added for payroll and for workers' comp, which I know both of us carry, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I say that scares them off. Then they don't want to pay, and they run out and they want to pay individually. Well, what COD means, in my mind, is you're paying cash on delivery. So the guy shows up, he's getting a check.
Absolutely. At the end of the day.
At the end of the day is fine, or it can be at the beginning of the day.
Sure,
but normally it's going to be at the end of the day, of course.
So sometimes they'll take the money and run. You know,
Well,
going. Okay, we're on a 15-minute break, and where'd the guy
I think
go?
that's like, but you know, people are much more incentivized by something at the end of the day, and most people,
and
most
they got to
guys
hold their name up too.
Yeah, and most guys don't say, "Oh, I wanted it before the show." You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's important, you know. That's what that means to me. Apparently, that can be interpreted.
Oh,
you know,
yes.
and I want to deal with that with you. You know what I mean? Exactly how you do that. So it's a real big responsibility. Not to mention, by the way, you are legally on the hook for that employee.
That's right.
Do not take that lightly.
Right.
I'll tell you that, especially in the state of California,
Oh boy.
which is quite litigious.
Yes.
And the laws, and I think rightfully so, by the way, the laws are constructed in California in the favor of the employee.
Absolutely.
So you, as an employer, I think, are sort of put on the defensive side of that and saying, did you comply? Did you comply with this? Did you comply with that? Did they know? Were they given their breaks at the right times? Did they work 8 hours and then go into overtime? Which is a big deal and works differently in our industry. So, you know, that's by that 20% that you're taking on to pay that crew, that really takes a lot of burden off of that individual.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, when they're coming in, you know.
Absolutely. And you know, it doesn't stop there. Once you pay your crew guy, 1099s come up, and you're responsible for sending those out. So you're still not done.
Oh, no.
Even after you pay that guy.
Which is part of that 20%.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That I charge. And I picked out 20%, in all honesty, not based on anything I went through and cut the cost down and all that.
Sure.
I just thought the customer is going to choke on almost anything bigger than
anything
that.
extra.
Anything extra. If you went to 25%, I don't think anybody would do it.
Sure.
Seriously.
That makes
sense.
Yeah.
But you know, you've got to try to do it. You are not making any money on that 20% or what you charge for payroll, because just as Gary said, at the end of the year you have responsibilities to do,
also.
and they actually carry with you for another year.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
you can go in that next year and
actually for 7 years.
7 years. You're absolutely
In case
right.
that A word comes up.
Yes. So, you know, I mean, some of the solutions to that are using a payroll company, doing other, but all of that comes.
All in
with
all,
a
it
big thing.
rolls back to you.
Right.
At the end of the day.
So, with that as sort of a net or a background for us, I want to just talk about how a normal scenario goes.
Sure.
And what can happen in that normal scenario.
Yes. You know, I've worked for several clients throughout the years.
Right.
And of course, you build a relationship with a client.
Of course.
And some clients pay at the end of the day, some clients pay 15 days out, 30 days. But then you got the slow paying guy. But at least they always pay. You can count on that.
Yes.
But how far do you let them go? Because once they feed the waters and and they set everything in motion, where does the stopgap happen? Is it 45 days, 60 days? Because that's happened to me.
Oh,
where I let him go, and he caught up a little bit, but the pile got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then I don't hear from him anymore. And then a small claims court, so forth and so on. So you just got to be careful with those clients.
Gary, I've got, as you know, and I know your stories too, we've got so many stories that float right down that same stream. Let me tell you how I approach it, because I think, first of all, this is it. I think you head it off. You're much better heading it off before you're getting nailed with it.
Well, sooner than later.
You've got to head it off before it happens.
Right.
That is your best thing. Let me just tell you this. First of all, as soon as somebody is 30 days late and they call again, we got to get number one taken care of on the last one, or we don't do the second job.
Absolutely.
That's it. Now, you can get, if you've got a 30-day deal with somebody, and I look at it this very way, and I think this is really important for you to do. That person is asking you for a line of credit. And think about the line of credit that you're extending them right now. You're taking employees, people that have legal standing in the state you're in, okay, and you have taken on a legal role to hire them, okay?
Correct.
You've hired them, you've brought them into the production.
Yeah.
They are working for you legally. You have a huge amount of liability
Sure.
on you,
Absolutely.
okay? If you're doing this for the 20% or whatever, but let me finish this one, and I'll draw you another
Sure.
scenario though. So that is, those people are all, you are their employer. You know, you have to get that guy. I would not do that scenario at all unless I had the money in the bank.
Absolutely.
You need to provide them with a credit card application, a line of credit or
Yep.
whatever. They need to know that, and they need to know that when that job happens, the morning, or you know what, even the day before.
Sure.
Even the day before, 48 hours. I
Sure.
think I've got something like that in my contract. It's 48 hours we can charge the car.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or it's a point of
Absolutely.
no return. You
Sure.
know, or we don't guarantee anything if it comes in.
Right.
You know, if it's 24 hours away, I'll do what I can, but you're not guaranteed anything that everything you wanted. But that is something you have to take that on, and take that on very strictly. You know what I mean? Now, so that happens up front. Those guys, you should have the money in charge for that up front. If you have that 30-day deal, as I said, you don't go past the 30 days without doing it. But if somebody is like, okay, I'm shooting today, I'm shooting next week, and shooting,
Right.
now you got a
Stringing you
30-day
out,
deal
sure.
on them, don't go there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it, right, Gary?
Yeah,
You don't go
it's
because
true.
you are not in a position to take on a $30,000, $40,000 debt of this guy's, and that's just what you're doing.
Exactly.
And let me tell you, as much as we all want to work, as much as we all want to, you know, get every job. I mean, I
Right.
do. I look on Facebook, I see guys work, I go, God, why am I not on that shit?
Of course.
It's insane. It's
Yes.
not even logical. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But we want everything. The most powerful word you can use for your own self-positioning is no. No,
Yeah.
no. Can't do it. If you want to take that risk as a producer
Right.
and having $40,000 on the line, that's fine. But you don't have enough money to give me that risk.
That's right.
Because it's going to cost you $40,000.
At the end of the day, you're funding their project.
You're funding that. You're a co-producer.
Yeah,
you're a
you're a basic co-producer.
You're not that person.
No.
You know, it's no job is worth it.
Right. Absolutely.
Let me, and I because this is, I know you've had to deal with this directly too. Let me add another layer on that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Let's just say you are on a 30-day whatever, right? Now, this is a scenario that happened to a friend of mine just recently, and somebody who's a mutual client of ours too,
okay.
I will say.
Sure.
They come in, they have a shoot,
Right.
right? So, like a lot of things happen, not everybody who shoots is a real professional producer.
Sure.
Okay, their expertise is in some other area now. And they come in and they haven't locked their interviewees down, they haven't locked their location down like they should. Things are amiss. So now what happens is the crew comes in and they start off with 2 interviews. Okay, then somebody calls, oh, I can't make it.
Right.
Or now I have to change it from 10 to 2. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Now they're 10 o'clock was supposed to be there. Now the crew's standing around for a couple hours.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
So now they go through and then the person shows up. Well, they don't want to break up for lunch because they did it. Now the crew is into a lunch penalty
Right.
because they're going 7.5 hours
Sure.
before they
Well,
eat.
yeah.
They go eat, then come back. Somebody else now changes the time, and now the crew's sitting around another couple
Sure.
hours.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
As a producer, you're not going to come back and renegotiate the day
Right.
and turn it into a 12-hour day
No way,
or
no way.
or say, well, the guys just stood around and broke for a while.
Sure.
That's like, what can we do here?
Right.
No, the guys are there. They charge for their hours. they are not responsible for your
Scheduling.
your scheduling, your mishaps, all
Yeah.
that. That's the risk you take on as a producer,
Absolutely.
and the bid you give the client should reflect that risk.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely, 100%.
That's it.
It's based on either an 8-hour day or a 10-hour day.
Yeah. So I've got a friend right now that's going through that, and he goes, what can I do? Now he's in a bind. He doesn't have a credit card. He doesn't really have an agreement.
Right.
And now he's got 6 guys on his crew that are going, wait, I was there 16 hours.
Sure.
You know, what do I do? Tony, do we have a question?
We're here. Hey, guys.
Hey, there they are. There's the
Yeah.
guy. Sorry, did I introduce you guys? I didn't, did you? This is the
He always
crack
forgets
crew.
us.
This is the crack crew. Tony,
crack
Tony, and then what was your name? Sean Ryan?
Guy in the blue
okay,
jacket.
Yeah, I know Sean. I know Sean. So yeah, these guys are here every
Yeah.
week. You guys know them.
We're here. Hey,
Tony and Sean.
Everyone out there in live land.
Yeah.
Just actually a comment before I throw this one out is that
Yeah.
this show works really well when you guys interact. So we really would love to have your questions, your comments. I mean, these guys can talk for hours, but the show is really for you. So a thing that my father used to say: no stupid questions, just stupid people. So
Yeah.
throw them out. We want to hear
Yeah.
them. We want to answer them. We want to talk to you, and we want to answer your stuff. So
Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much.
Having said that, our frequent commenter, William Primrose,
Yes.
has said, with a new client, I am always COD, 50% deposit and remaining before the truck leaves the driveway. Previous clients are fine paying this way, which is by e-transfer from their account to mine. So
William's a smart guy. William is a very smart guy. That is very good, William. I totally concur with that. And certainly for me, with anybody out of town, of course, here I have been in the same market for 20 years. I got people who were grandfathered in, and I don't hold them to that standard. And it's not to say they're not late either, but I just know pretty safely they're gonna pay me.
And that's a great deal also, because at least with 50% coverage, you can cover your crew. If the producer walks away, all you got on hook is your time and your gear.
Yes.
So at least you get coverage on
that. That's a very good point. That's a very good point, because you can cover it, with their gear, and that should be your number one concern, is covering that crew.
Yes.
That crew is like for you, for me. These are trained professionals. You know what I mean? My business is dependent on guys like either them or guys like them working those jobs with the knowledge base they have, with the skills they have, and doing that. I can't afford to lose them. They're a very important factor.
And the crew that we choose, they have lots of options out there.
Yes.
And they know that, Bernie's asking or Gary's asking to get onto that shoot, and we're sort of slow on the back end with the pay.
Yeah.
They're going to jump for the other client.
Every time,
That's
dude.
right.
Because what did we do when we were in
That's
that
right.
situations? We jumped right to the.
It's called
slow
book and bail.
bail.
Book and bail.
You know what? Let me check. Let me check my calendar.
Yeah, let me see my calendar.
And then you get on. You got anything on the 15th?
Yeah.
Please put me on.
Classic.
Oh, totally,
Very classic.
dude. Totally.
Oh,
totally.
yes.
So that is something that you definitely got to take care of, and the guys will. Reputation and word happens so quick in this business. You know what I mean?
That is so true.
And just going back a little bit to the story that I just talked about with the guy who has the guys, and stuff like that. We talked a little bit privately, on too, and I just told him, and this is hell for this guy to do. I go, you gotta be ready to walk away from any client. Okay? You've got to be ready to walk away from any client. You don't want to lose the client. I get that. But you have to definitely make sure that they understand that this is a financial responsibility.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that if you extrapolate it back, you know what I mean? If you're not paying and they're paying,
Sure.
they've got to understand the position they're in via at least in our state, you know what I mean, the labor laws here.
Absolutely.
Because it really specifically tells you how long it is before they get a break.
Right.
And a break is very rare animal. And,
Oh, boy.
You know, either you're having 2 or 3 hour breaks.
Sure.
Or you're not having any break at all.
Right.
You know, you've got to do that. What time is lunch? You know,
Yeah,
the state
lunch.
dictates how long you work before you have lunch. That's
Sure.
not an option.
That's right.
You know, that's not, oh, we're really busy, so we're not eating lunch today, like you
No.
might do in your private life
Sure.
or something, you know.
Sure.
But then, and when does overtime kick in? And
That's
here's
key.
a big one. Here's a big one. That's and what is overtime? But in the state of California, overtime kicks in at 8 hours.
Yes.
Okay. We generally work a 10-hour shift.
That's right.
Now that's pretty common that we do a 10-hour day. So in our world, that equates to you work 10 hours, then you go into overtime from
Right.
10 to 12, and then you go into double time, not just time and a half, doesn't keep going, you go into double time after 12 hours. And frankly, I would put a 4-hour limit on that. And then it's triple time or golden time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure, after
So
that.
so that and frankly, after 16 hours, you better take another hard look at the
Oh, absolutely.
at the script.
Oh, then you have second meal,
I
too.
know. Well,
You got
that is
second meal.
correct. That is correct. You have after 12 hours, after 6 hours, you're in our industry, you're supposed to get a meal. After 12 hours, you're supposed to get a meal as well, and it is not a
Flat food.
Well, you're probably going to get pizza. Let's just say that you're probably going to
Flat
get
food.
pizza.
Oh, goodness.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal. It's not a walking lunch.
No.
You are supposed to sit down, eat,
Right.
and rest.
Well, and it's the first one in line and the last one in line.
Oh
too.
yes,
That's
yes.
key also.
So and this goes for any lunch, overtime, no matter who hires the crew or whatever. The last person
To get
in
served.
the crew that you're in who is served. Give you an example.
Uh-huh.
So we got the G&E crew.
Right.
Lunch is called, right? And the most dedicated guy on the crew is out there checking the Jenny.
Absolutely.
He's going through the lights. He's going through making sure the set is safe.
Sure.
And then he walks in to the line. Now, any good line producer, set manager will take that individual and put him up at the front of the line.
Absolutely.
Why? Because once the last person in that department eats, that's when that department has started their lunch.
Absolutely.
So everybody could be sitting down at a table half finished, but the one guy who is still left there, who has not got through the line and sat down with his other crewmates and is finishing up, all of their time starts when that one person sits down.
Yeah.
That you have to remember that. Nobody gets shorted.
Yeah,
You know.
So many times the poor guy in the last of the line.
Sure.
He takes his first bite, and you hear,
All right, we're back."
Horrible, horrible, and that's happened.
Oh,
so
I've heard
many
it,
times.
dude. It's happened to you and I.
Oh, yeah.
How many times have we never had a lunch on set? Now we're business owners, we're managers, so
Sure.
that's good. That's to be expected if there's a problem. Or most of the time, you know what you and I are doing.
Sure.
We're calling the 15 phone calls that we got that
We've
morning.
missed, yeah,
and
that's
then we're trying to just salvage the next week.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we're doing that. But that is something to always remember, and that is something to always inform your employer of. And here's the thing. The time to do that is not after the problem happened.
Oh, no.
It's that uncomfortable time when you're first talking to the client.
Sure.
You know? And one thing that I really suggest, I don't know if you do this, we do this at BG&L, but we make sure it is clearly stated in our paperwork that we send to them. Now, whether they read it or not, I don't
Right,
know.
right.
You know what I mean? But we
Right.
clearly state that, and we require a signature for the rental
Sure.
contract and for the like the credit card application. We require a certificate of insurance.
Yes.
You know, all of that. You can put another piece of material in.
Yeah, it's called
that-
a deal memo.
a deal memo.
Sure.
Deal memo.
Simple
We
as
do
that.
all that. That is a time to bring it up. So when something happens, you can refer back to the deal
Always,
memo.
always,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
It used to be hearsay.
Yes.
Everything on the phone. Mm-hmm. He said, she said.
Ooh,
But
I know where
with
you're going.
With the internet and emails, like Judge Judy says, if it's not in writing, it's a lie.
Well, I love that. If it's not in writing, it's a lie. I love that. You know what, Gary? You bring up the best point right there. Because, and this is something you have to tell the client, when you have a special need, when there's something,
Yes.
even an order, I insist all orders are in emails. So I have and what the date is, and what time we will arrive. Obviously, that's the call sheet. But I want to get as much information from that client prior to, not just for my own information, but we have some evidence of this is why we are making the decisions about your show that we are making because of the input that you gave us.
Right. And,
you know,
and I remember I said this 2 or 3 shows ago, was that keep your emails.
Keep your emails.
Because you
Keep
can
your
always
emails.
refer back
Always,
to deals that you
always,
gave them.
always,
Because it was like, oh,
always.
remember you gave me that light for X amount. And
Yeah.
remember this. And remember I charged you for that. Well, everybody forgets.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that was 20 shoots ago.
Right.
So emails categorized per client.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you how I approached that very thing, but I think we might have a question here. Tonio, we got somebody?
Oh, yeah, we got. I asked people to comment, and sure enough,
I
they're
love
jumping
it.
on.
Thank you.
It
Thank
happens.
you.
This is great.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Malvika, who's watching from India.
Malvika.
So,
Awesome.
but she was asking about rehearsal time on set. As far is rehearsal time appropriate on set versus handling rehearsal time in pre-production, as far as time, time on set is concerned. But Curtis Boggs, also watching. Hello, Curtis. Wanted you to comment on producers who are resistant to hire local crew on out-of-town shoots.
Okay, let me talk to both of those. Let's go to Malvika first. That is a production decision, I think. I think any thinking person or any smart person would obviously want to have rehearsals when they're not having a crew stand around to pay. And if they are trying to sell this to you that you need to be not paid because they're rehearsing now, goodbye, because somebody's dreaming big time there.
You know, when we do productions and they go, hey, listen, first one's a rehearsal, we roll on everything.
We roll on everything.
Hard drive space is the cheapest.
That's
cheapest space to put.
That's
so if they're going to rehearse, you shoot the rehearsal.
That's right, because you never know when you get that bite of gold.
Perfect.
And how many times have you seen the rehearsal go perfect and they blow 30 takes?
Well, not only that, but they go, I always hear, hey, we should have rolled on that.
We should have rolled on that.
Oh my goodness, what's going on? Crew's in place, lighting's in place.
Or the DP
there's no
turns around,
airplanes, there's no
did you
dogs,
want me to roll on that?
Oh, do you want me to roll on that? Oh, goodness. What did I say, Sean? You're only a button away from success?
Yeah.
Right, Sean?
Yeah.
You're only a push button away from success.
Roll on it. Yeah, so I would say that, Malvika. That is much better done during rehearsals and they're set and too. Now, you do have blocking, I will say.
Sure.
On set, you should have the blocking.
Absolutely.
Which can still be done in rehearsal, but you should block it for the crew, the gaffer, the DP, all that.
Absolutely.
And sound, too.
Absolutely.
For that
Absolutely.
matter.
And you can rehearse. You can, production, the producer can rehearse while you're setting up the lighting. You're setting up the shot.
Yeah.
You can do that easily.
Yeah.
So, the crew can work a little quieter if they're going to rehearse lines.
Yeah,
but
we've done that.
Yeah, you just rehearse while you're lighting the scene or you're setting camera.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you for that
Great
question,
question.
Malvika.
Great question.
Awesome. What was the next one, Tony? Give me that again, would you?
Let's see about that. Hang on, we're gonna go back.
I think
here.
it was something about.
Curtis Boggs wanted to comment on the producers who resist hiring local crew on out-of-town projects.
Yeah. You know what I would say? It's a tough call. I think it's a sales. I think it's a sales answer, to be honest with you. I think what is the producer afraid of? First of all, he's probably been burnt, and I can tell you this by anybody who's been on the road. It's probably easier to vet now than it was when I spent a lot of time on the road because of the internet and everything like that, and you can get references and all that. You should be able to kind of suss out, I think, the the wheat from the chaff.
Sure, absolutely.
You know, so I would say the producer is afraid of getting burnt on the road. Now, it's got to be enormously more expensive for that producer to bring somebody out and put them
Absolutely.
up and feed them
Yes.
and essentially babysit them throughout the production. You know what I mean? Because he's got to
Right.
provide food, housing.
Right.
He's got to, you know what I mean? Transportation.
Gear, you got to.
Yeah,
Where's
well,
that
and he's
gear coming
got
from?
to do the gear, yeah. But
Right.
but all of those things, he's got like a child he's almost
Sure.
taking on vacation with him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think it's this way. I think it's a sales item that when a person is resistant to that, you have to pick out several people that are stalwarts in your community and really explain to them how good they are and some of the projects they've worked on and that they can handle it. You know what I mean? I think that's the main thing. A producer is going to save money if he hires local.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
So I think it's a matter of just making sure that they know they are getting a qualified individual.
Well, I always say that there's a time that productions gel.
Yes.
And if you throw a bunch of different people together that
Yes.
don't know each other,
Yes.
it's a feel out for the
Yeah.
first 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's a fine-tuned machine. You get things done a lot faster when everybody knows each other.
So much so, Gary. When those
It
unspoken
clicks.
words, when I'm seeing you over there, and I just tell the guy, go get him a C-stand.
Yeah.
Because I know you're going to put your boom up.
Absolutely.
I've been taking it out. You haven't had to ask for it. You haven't
Sure.
done anything. You know, when I see wardrobe over there, and I notice there's no clothing rack, I send it a couple C-stands for her.
Absolutely.
You know, I go to makeup. First of all, I'll set up a small chimera
Right.
and take that in and either gel it for whatever we need, you know, color she needs.
Sure.
Bounce that off somewhere for makeup. You know
And
what I mean?
especially if it's an ongoing production series, you know, the DP's
Yeah.
key and the camera guy's key.
Yeah.
So maybe you get a combo guy.
Yeah.
You at least want to
At least
bring
one-
him.
yeah.
Bring him along. Oh my goodness, because
Right.
you want that same look, the same shooting style.
Yes,
And
yes.
that same camera.
Yes.
Because it can be the same camera out of town, but his settings are different.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen
Oh,
time
so
and time
many
again.
times, dude. So many times. It looks different. Yeah, now you're
Absolutely.
spending a bunch of time in post and
Sure.
doing all that. Yeah, I think so. And you know what? It's funny, too, is bringing somebody in who's a real heavy hitter, too. Every crew should have somebody who's probably a little above their pay grade
Right.
for where they're at. Because
Absolutely.
that experience, that's somebody who knows all departments, kind of. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Sure.
That's hugely valuable.
Yeah, the guy I like, who's my team player, is the guy who has worn all the hats.
Oh, absolutely.
PA, camera guy, lighting
Absolutely.
guy, producer, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And that way, you've got somebody watching your back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of deal.
Absolutely.
You know, he's
Absolutely.
been through the ups and downs of this business, and it's great to have. You don't want a guy learning on your dime.
No, no, you don't. You don't. Hey, I think we're going to take a quick little break right here, Gary. Let me just ask everybody, throw me some questions, throw me some ideas, comments, whatever experiences. Let's hear from you, and please share the show. All right, we'll be right back.
Burnie's workshop is fantastic. Burnie's workshop is awesome. Burnie's workshop is insightful.
Burnie, in one word, passionate maybe. You can tell he really cares a lot.
Burnie is a badass.
He's a great teacher. He has great stories, and I would recommend this to anyone. Not only someone like me who's starting day one, but I feel that in any profession, as you sharpen your sword, it always gets sharper.
I think the best thing about this is the access to understanding how to run your business, how to actually be in this filmmaking industry and make money at it. Coming to this workshop, I think, is what actually gets you the tools to understand how to do that, how to get out there and sell yourself.
I thought that was really cool. I thought, he knows all the tricks in the book, and he knows how to show that to us and actually demonstrate it so we actually know what he's talking about.
I really like the hands-on experience. That's something that you don't find a lot. That's something you have to go on set a lot to just appreciate.
I know this is a lighting seminar, but it's not only talk about lightings. He also share his business experience, personal experience, and guide us to what we should do, what kind of personality we should have in this business.
His stories, I think that kind of say everything, all in a few example stories that he gives out from time to time.
I would recommend this workshop to anybody who's just brand new to the industry, people who just don't know the swing of it. A lot of this stuff they don't teach you in film school.
I deal with a lot of freelancers every day, a lot of peers that I went to school with, a lot of professionals in the field, and they all need to take this class because it puts you on the next level, on the next playing field.
Bernie's a great guy. Bernie's really authentic. Like everything he learns, everything he teaches, the way he handles himself, the way he deals with other people, he's a one-of-a-kind guy. Someone I've never come across before in the industry, and someone I hope to emulate and hope that there are more people like him out there that can help.
Hey, we're back. I just looked at my office manager. Goes, who do I contact? I'll get it. Connie, go Peter.
Go Peter. When in doubt,
Good,
call
good.
Peter.
She's required as part of her job description to watch this show. So I know she's watching right now.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, that's it.
Another
That's
viewer.
it.
Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
I think she cheats a little bit, though. I don't think she watches anything. All right. Yeah, we're coming back, and I think we just covered that. There was a couple things I think we got in more. Tony, we got some more questions?
Yeah, we got a lot of great questions and a lot of great comments. Bjorn, one of our regular viewers,
Yes.
Did have a comment which, in my mind, prompted a good question. It says, did the last project all on my own, worked out quite well, but I think I will need to update my contracts in terms of payment and how that's related to time. Which in my mind is, and I've been involved on many discussions on boards about this, is hourly versus flat rate.
Right.
Which is best to use.
Right. That does bring up a very interesting point. I would, first of all, I have to say this, most of mine is based on hourly. I do my rate, $7.50 for a 10-hour day. That's $75 an hour.
Sure.
I am not going to go in and say, I'll do your shoot at a flat rate, and
Right.
I don't care how long you take. That wouldn't be a normal process for me. So a little bit depends on what department you're in.
Sure.
But let's take something like editing, for example, because I think that's probably, and I know Tony does this, that's probably a little more in line with what you're going to do. You have to ask yourself, you have to have at least enough working knowledge to know, is this a difficult project or is this going to be a very easy project? If it's an easy project and which you would never tell the client, I can do this in a half hour.
Client,
I got
turn your
half
TV
of-
off
yeah,
right now.
Yeah, right.
Client,
Turn the sound down.
turn the sound
Just
down.
the sound down. I know I can crank this out in a half hour, an hour and a half, and I got this other project I can tag it onto. Doesn't even, not even make sense. So I don't want to lose it. I don't want to, you have to sit there and treat it like something special. Look, I'll do that for you for $500.
Yeah.
Or something like that. That's great. That's great. If you look at something and you have any question at all on how difficult it's going to be, if you even think that there's a little area you don't know, go hourly. But I think this is something you can do. You go hourly, but you can say, look, I'll go hourly, I think, and you can give them, because I'm not an editor, I don't know this, but I would say, if I was that editor, I estimate, and remember, it's an estimate, that this is going to take me 12 hours to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, I would hope you're giving the right type of estimate where you knew in your head, even if you've got to do it underwater, it wouldn't take you more than 6 hours, right?
Right.
Because, and here's in my mind, which again I'm saying, you're going to want to come up, you estimated 12 hours, well, maybe you come in at 11 or 10, right?
Sure.
Client's thrilled because they've already spent the more money in their mind and they're doing that. That's you want to do it. But here's the thing that I think, and just talking about editors right now, you know what I mean, and doing that, here's where I think editors get burnt. First of all, they've got usually a good wage, but there's much more competition in editing now. You know, there's a lot of people coming out of school that learned how to, you know, you can learn that in college. You can learn how to edit.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
get pretty proficient at it. But there's going to be a lot of people that are competing with you now. So you do have to fight down a little bit on the wage. You have to maybe come up on the hours and stuff. But I would try to stay away from any flat rate. But where I think editors get burnt is the going back over. In other words, you've got the first draft that you put out.
Revision.
Revision. You know you're going to get revision by the client, but here's where I think the real burn comes in. You're talking to Joe Blow at this company, right? And he's like 2 steps down from the decision maker, right? So Joe Blow asks you on the first round, he goes, oh, I know my boss is going to hate that. Can change this, can change this, change this. Then he shows it to the number 2 guy, right? He shows it to the, who is 1 step away from the decision maker. Well, that guy, he's got to have his input, and he's going, oh, Mr. Big won't want this, or we want to see that, or we want to do this, and it's probably going to be a shot you haven't done.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's going to be talk about that. Then, so as the editor, you go back and change that. Now Mr. Big's got it. Well, Mr. Big either loves it or hates it, right?
Sure.
But he's going to have a couple changes there. When do you stop making the changes? How do you put that in? You know? And that's a question I have. I think that's where the editors get burnt. Tony, do you have, I know you edit, so do you have any input on that?
Usually, if I'm working on a project, especially if it's a newer client, I will build into the contract that I'll go 2 rounds specifically for that reason.
Yeah.
You know, because I know the first round is always going to be right. Somebody, usually the person, my direct contact, will look at it and say, okay, I know we need to change this, this, and this. Yeah, this graphic isn't working, so forth. And then knowing that that will usually go up to either another person or a committee, which is even worse.
A committee.
Committee of individuals, yes.
You're dead.
Which is even more fun.
That's right.
Yeah, so I will build
just
in.
have them give you a blank check on that one.
Yeah. So I'll build in 2 complete rounds of revisions, and then after that, it's
gonna be
usually a
charged.
flat rate on
that makes sense.
Any additional rounds of changes.
No, I
and,
think.
And that's for a long time. But you know, I've worked with clients where I know them very well, and I know the process. And okay, if you need something a quick fix, I'll do it. You know, not a problem.
Right.
So that's more relation.
Yeah. You know, hourly I think is okay for editorial. But when it comes to grip, gaffer, camera guy, I wouldn't do hourly. And I'll tell you the reason why. Is you say, okay, well, if you break it down, I'm $75 an hour. So the producer goes, oh, great, I've got a 2-hour shoot.
Oh,
so
no.
You're at $1.50 because people,
I might have misspoke, Gary, because I didn't mean that.
I didn't, our last caller, I don't know if they were pertaining to editorial with their contracts or the whole shoot match, every production.
Right.
Because with your day rate, there should be a half-day rate. If you're going to go out for less than 5 hours.
That brings up a good point.
Because here's the deal: there's pre-production on your end. You got to get all the gear together.
Yeah.
Got to get the crew to all line up. You got gas money. You got insurance on the car. You got all that stuff ahead of time, and then you got to shoot. Then you come back. You got to offload. You maybe have to.
People have no idea of the involvement that is with the job that goes up with a one-day job.
Yeah, the hourly stuff I would leave on the post-production end.
Yes, let me just tell you, and I may have not made myself clear, so let me just try to clear it up. And yes, I think post-production, is generally
that can go either way.
That can go either way because you have a way of making more money per hour for the hours spent actually touching the project, which is good. It really does not, I think only hourly applies in my business though. And here's why, because I am saying when I say $750 is my rate for a 10-hour day, I don't care if the shoot lasts 1 hour, right?
Sure.
I'm still walking away with $750 because I come with a minimum.
Right.
And that's really what I'm talking about as the minimum. You know what I mean? So you are going to get that. Now, you bring up the point of a half day, and I think this is very, very, very interesting. And I have done plenty of half days in my world.
Oh, yes.
I don't do them anymore.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That's great.
But let me just say this as a qualifier. A half day is not 1/2 of the day. It is 0.6 of the day, right? and you charge accordingly. So you don't just charge half your rate, you charge about 3/4 of your rate.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Because you're not, because by having you the shorter amount of hours, you have to charge a higher rate because you're not doing as many hours.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
You agreed.
60%.
60% at least.
Rate,
at
right?
least. At least.
Right.
At least.
And
That's
then what
2/3,
happens?
yeah.
Okay, here's the deal. I've had situations where, oh, geez, we've gone 7 hours now. So does that put you into a full day at that point? Or do you give the client a break and just charge them an extra hour, broken down? You see, this,
well, you know what? It's actually not that difficult.
Okay.
If the deal is 6 hours,
Right.
the deal is 6 hours.
But what happens if you go to that 7th hour at that point?
Then it's 7 hours. I mean, either I think you have a choice. If you can break it down hourly for what you charge a client, and it still is, remember that.
Right.
You know, if I'm charging $7.50, if I do 0.6 of $7.50, and I've worked 6, and there's one more hour in there.
Right.
Right. It's another $75 if I'm only going by the hour. However, what I would say, what my feeling would be, is that you've worked that 7 hour. We're into a full day now.
There you go.
Because we made an agreement to work a half day based on this many hours. Now we've gone over that. You're not buying me hour by hour. I'm not a piece of equipment.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not a rental car. You know, I'm making my day. My day is done. You know what I mean? My day is done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So plus, I've been in a situation where they've booked me for a half day, let's say 7 a.m. to noon.
Right.
Well, I go, okay, you got me the first half. Another client calls me and says, hey, I need you 2 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Right.
So you've booked 2 half days, and now that client is going over. So you have to, like you said before, Bern, you got to set everything up front. You got to say, listen, I'm walking at noon. I'm walking, and you got to tell them I'm booked on a second day. So if yours goes over, you better have another backup grip or gaffer or camera guy to take your spot.
Right, because I'm going. I'm gone.
You
don't have
for a
me
half.
anymore.
You have me for a half.
You don't have me anymore.
So-
and that has happened to both of us.
Oh, yes.
You know, I'm going to leave now because you didn't plan enough, and you tried to make your budget fit the reality that didn't fit.
A lot of times, I remember doing sound, and I booked myself 2 half days, 2 different clients.
Right.
And literally, I've left my audio package on set, and I told the grip, I said, and I probably did that to you, Bernie. I said, hey, Bernie, come on over, put your headsets on, and don't go past 0.
Yes. Oh, dude, I've been there. You taught me. I've done more audio with you than any other grip has. You know, I think we might have another question here, and then I want to get into that, how we talk to the clients.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of comments. Ben Stanley has jumped on.
Ben Stanley. We love Ben.
What's his new project? I want to know his new project.
Where are we at?
Yes, and in LA, the half day does not really work unless you go port to port.
Yeah. Yes, true.
Because drive time
Granted.
sucks. But Malvika brought something. We want to shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
She asks the question, what is a producer looking for when they're making a film with a new filmmaker? But I would posit to you, Bernie, in keeping in line with what we're talking about today, what do you look for when you're looking at a new person to bring into a crew?
Yeah, good question.
Yes, I like that. So we'll tweak it a little bit, Malvika, here, and we'll say, what do I look for in somebody who's bringing in a new person on? Because I think a lot of and then we want to get this from you because you've done it more than I have. You know, I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you, this is maybe not the answer that you expect. I look for positive attitude. Positive attitude more than anything else will make the difference for me. You know, that's for a new player maybe coming in, is that positive attitude, that enthusiasm. Somebody, too, who demonstrates to me, and I'll just be very blunt about this, they don't open their mouth too often. You know what I mean? They're not overly concerned with having me understand how much information they know. You know, because I'm looking at it this way. I'm sending you on a set with people who know a lot of information.
Oh, yeah.
You would be much better served as a new person, you know what I mean, coming on and understanding that This is your time to learn.
Absolutely.
Now, let's say because I think this is really more what Malvika is coming to, a more experienced player, what do I look for? The very most important thing, and where I'm probably going to make almost 100% of my decision, is on that first phone call talking to them.
Yes.
Because if I'm getting sort of that hey man, you know what's going on and stuff like that, if they're not treating me in sort of a professional manner, you know what I mean? And I don't mean ass kissing, I don't mean saying, hey bro, or whatever.
Right.
And, you know what I mean? I guess it's a little bit hard to define, but if I see them taking this serious tone about it, like, what is the project? You know, and they're interested in the project,
Right.
first of all. They're not interested in like, what's the rate? You know what I mean? You know, and here's the reason I say that. I don't blame them for wanting to know the rate or being very concerned about the rate, but I hope that we can establish this as I'm a professional who's already taking your rate into account.
Absolutely.
And I'm expecting top level.
Right.
I'm charging top level. I'm preparing the client to pay top level. So I am looking at that. If it's just money only, though, that doesn't jive with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want a good place. I am very, very, very cautious, Malvika, about putting someone on my set I have not personally worked with before.
Right.
But I think one of the best things that you can do if you want to talk to somebody and try to convince a producer to bring somebody on is really understand the person that you want to go, and then ask for some time with a producer and sell the person.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Do not reduce your rate to get on set, because all they're buying then is rate.
Absolutely.
They should want you on set because of how good you are. So
Right.
don't make that mistake. But I think that's
Yeah,
it.
Burn. You know, my whole deal is appearance.
Okay.
I do a lot of corporate videos.
Very smart.
And I get these guys showing up, newbies,
Yeah.
showing up. So I said, hey, call times, blah, 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 blah. I said, please show black, or please wear a collared shirt, Docker pants. And they break every rule. You know, it's FU
Every
t-shirt,
rule.
you know, holes in the pants, you know, the shoes. I go, dude, when's the last time you bought a new pair of shoes?
Yeah.
It's just horrible.
Yeah.
That's number one. And I always put everybody on a word budget. I tell them, I said,
budget.
I said, every
I
word
like
you
this.
say is, I'm taking $1 out of your rate. Basically, I mean, at the end of the day, one bad word comes out of your guy's mouth, and you
Oh
either
no, you're
lose-
done.
You lose
the
the
client.
client. Goodbye.
And you have too. Let me just say this: not all clients are the same. Without mentioning names or anything like
Sure.
that, I just put it straight. You have very sensitive clients.
Oh yes.
You have clients that, boy, I mean, it's the princess and the pea.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
And that is, they can feel that pea 14 mattresses down.
Absolutely.
That gave them a backache. You know?
Absolutely.
So you have to put them on a word budget. I wonder how many guys have sat there and go, God, I got to go to the bathroom, but I can't afford $3.
Yeah, oh, that happens all the. You know, I said you better wear support. What do they call that?
Yeah.
Depends.
Depends. Yeah,
It depends how many words
Yeah,
you say.
Yeah, boy, I'm glad I wore diapers on this.
Yeah,
show.
you better. Oh, nobody goes to the bathroom on my set.
Yeah.
You know, until that producer calls cut,
Oh,
you ain't
my
going
God,
anywhere.
that is so funny.
You know,
That is so funny.
It's key that whoever you brings attention.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and keeps focus on the production at hand. That means everything.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of corporate videos for big utility companies, and safety. You know,
Yes.
he's got to stay focused, and he's got to know where. Oh, if I lift that sandbag off that backlight, it's going to tip over. So bring down the backlight, swing it away, and attention to your surroundings.
Right,
Simple.
right.
Real simple stuff.
Really simple stuff, and you should be thinking about that, talking to people, letting them know, going to your supervisor. This is another thing that I say, don't sit there and make these decisions in a vacuum. If you think something's going to go to your immediate supervisor,
Right.
not the supervisor above you,
Sure.
above your supervisor.
Right.
Go to your immediate supervisor, bring it to their attention.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's very, very organized, and by doing that too, you are ensuring yourself you'll get on set again.
You almost, when you're having the conversation with the new guy or the new person, and you say, hey, listen, if there's going to be a situation on set that you see that oh boy, I better tape that down, or this, or maybe a piece of gear is not working properly. You don't yell it across the set. So you should always tell your guys, listen, if there's a situation that's going to happen, come to me.
Yeah.
Pull
Or get
me
on the
offset or headset,
Yeah.
and don't yell it across set. But you need to make that all happen before the shoot.
Before the shoot starts.
You gotta lay down the ground rules.
Yes.
You have to. Otherwise, the guy's gonna go, hey, well, you didn't say anything.
Yeah,
so
I didn't know.
I just yapped it.
Yeah, and there's guys that come from lots of different kinds of sets.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Hey, Tony, is that, how much time we got left, guys?
About 3 minutes.
What?
You know
Wow,
what?
no way.
Can you believe that, dude?
I think we're going to have to go to a second hour.
Yeah. Tony just held up the 5 minute, and I thought, 5 minutes to what?
Till part
I
two.
swear, this is flowing by, dude.
Absolutely.
This is flowing by. You know, guys, I guess just one thing that I wanted to say, too, just real quickly here, you know, because I want to say, in order to handle your stuff, and everybody should go out there and review how they're introducing clients to themselves. In other words, when you get that first phone call, what are you doing?
Right.
First of all, I won't go through what you should ask on the first phone call, but one thing that you should require from the client during that phone call is that you require that client give you an email requesting what they want. If they want crew, if they want gear, it should be listed out.
It's a laundry list.
And tentative dates.
Yes.
Even if they do not have a date picked out, say, give me a range of dates.
End
or
of June,
even,
beginning of July.
in 6 weeks from now, anything, but something like
Dates
that.
are key, because you could go through the whole yap of what their project.
Yeah.
And yap, and they go, oh, by the way, after the conversation you have, in June, oh, geez, my trucks are out, my cameras are out.
My cameras are out.
And then
you
it's
know.
a
Or
no-go.
it's like, oh, and this is day after tomorrow.
Right.
That's what it most likely
So the first
is.
thing is, when is your project,
When
when do you
due.
want it shot,
When
and when is
project
it due?
Yeah. And then what I do with that first email, or after, actually it's after my phone call, I'll text Connie, my office manager, whomever, and we write a work order. With that work order, we attach every email. We print it out and attach it. I know that's not popular, but I don't know any other way to do it. You know, when I've got to go back and forensically find something in there, you know. And so we have that, we work it up. We keep everybody on tap. We write all the crew guys' names down there, when we called them, when we contacted them, all of that stuff. And then we've got it in one central spot to do it.
Basically, you have a checklist.
That's right. And all the paperwork we send them that they sign comes back to that. And we've got a place, we just pick that folder up, and we've got all of our information right there.
That's the way to go, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
Ben Stanley wants to know, Gary, did you ever work with Cool Breeze at a Nissan 300ZX corporate reveal?
Boy, that sounds a little familiar about 15 years ago.
Tats and nipple rings?
Yes, it rings a bell, man. Rings a bell.
I actually met Cool Breeze on another set, Stranger Danger, one time, and he was a memorable
I think I know his
individual.
brother, Hot Breeze.
Yeah, that's Hot Breath.
Oh,
Hot Breath.
Loving you, Ben.
Okay, well, I think we're getting the word to wrap it up here. Hey, it was a great show today.
Bernie,
so
thanks
much
for having
fun.
me on.
So much fun. And let me give a shout out right now to Evan Borscher. I believe I'm pronouncing that. Forgive me if I'm not. Super Secret Film Group. Great guy, chit-chatting on him. I'm going to have him on the show, hopefully, just a little quickie interview sometime or a whole hour, depending on what his schedule is.
Sure.
So that... I'd like to say hi to Wade Courts at Scene Snipers and Jamie and Klinger and all the guys down there. They're really awesome, doing fantastic work. Of course, Greg Flores, you know, Grip Rigs, gripsupport.com. Adam Richland, who supports the show, Light Bulb, Grip, and Electric all the time. Dave Donaldson out there in Detroit doing the Lord's work, making those videos and all that good stuff. So thanks a lot, guys. You're great supporters of the show. Really appreciate it. Going to try to be all incorporating you a little more, but you know how it is. We're just like, it just seems like, I mean, I came in here just with less than an hour to go before the show. I've been loading trucks all morning. gotta go, oh, what are we talking about? Getting paid. That's
paid.
everybody's favorite
that's right.
subject.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we love to be
my
paid.
favorite thing to do.
Yeah,
is get paid.
yeah.
Yes,
So-
I love it when he shows up at the last minute.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I help everybody that way. Yeah, but thank you all,
Yeah,
and what I really appreciate is you guys showing up every week. Thank you so much. We have a great time here. It's really a great thing. You know, we've been doing this a year and a half.
Wow,
We've been
Bernie.
having
Time
Applebox
flies when you're
since
having
the old
fun.
blog days. Year and a half,
boy.
dude. I'll tell you, it's like that's good.
Sure,
Because I was like,
absolutely.
you know, this can't be another one of my things that I start and 2 weeks later I'm doing something else. But a year and a half, I made it. Okay, we're not there yet, but we're going.
We're going.
All right, everybody. Thank you
Have
so
a
much. Say
great
goodbye,
weekend.
guys.
Have a great
all right,
weekend.
All right.
Be
Thanks
safe.
a lot. See you then. We're out. Cut. That's a wrap.